Late on the first day of Mike Lindell's cyber symposium to examine evidence of election fraud, something unexpected happened that set the tone and the direction for the rest of the conference. Thus, the second day was dominated not by discussions about Maricopa County or Fulton County as one might have anticipated, but by the story emerging from Mesa County in Colorado. Recall that while Tina Peters, the county clerk and recorder for Mesa County, was in the air, on her way from Colorado to South Dakota in Lindell's plane to attend the symposium as a whistleblower, she got word that her office had just been raided, presumably at the order of Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold, a Democrat who'd made it pretty clear she would not allow any election auditing, which she called frauditing, even going so far as to issue, quote, rules that would prohibit that. Tina had obviously not been expecting the raid of her office and was shaken by the news. Some early reports said the hard drives had actually been stolen from her office, which would have been a crime. But this appears not to have happened. They did take copies. The decision was made Tuesday night to give the materials that she'd brought to Lindell's team of cyber experts. So on Wednesday, in real time, right up on the stage on big screens while others were giving their own presentations in a roundtable moderated by New Mexico State University law professor and attorney David Clements, going through all that data, to be sure, is a tedious process. They said it requires a team of individuals with specialized, complementary skills. And they explained that it normally takes about 3 weeks to go through that much data. So the first day was to see what was there, what was missing, and get an idea of the direction that they needed to go. For example, it's not normal to find an adjudication key on the desktop, but that's one thing that they did find. It would be really easy to hide a needle in a haystack here, said one. All it takes is one needle. And around midday, the cyber guys realized they might have found their needle. They said this was the smoking gun that should trigger a full forensic audit. They would never have discovered this if the county clerk hadn't had the presence of mind before an in-person software update by the Dominion voting systems to quietly make a forensic image beforehand. And because of her foresight, the cyber experts were able to compare images from before and after this update. What they said they found was highly significant. The before and afters were different, and it looked to these experts as though information had been erased. This is information that is by federal law supposed to be kept for 22 months after an election, so it appeared that laws might have been broken. This is exactly the kind of funny business that one wants to see investigated, one of them said from the stage. I assume this is the sort of thing she was there to blow the whistle on. According to the Gateway Pundit, the documents they've been examining prove that Dominion has remote access to their machines during elections. The way they were looking at it, the Colorado Secretary of State breached the public trust if she let data get deleted. And once you breach the public trust, a full audit is necessary, period. Of course, the go-to excuse is human error. I imagine them channeling Hillary and saying they didn't intend to erase anything. They didn't intend to wipe it, like with a cloth. But as one of the cyber guys asked, how do you introduce human error into a system that's supposed to work entirely by machine? So much of the effort, they said, is just the fight to get it done, just to get compliance with subpoenas, as in Maricopa County, Arizona, where they're flat out refusing to cooperate. They're withholding routers, passwords, and Splunk logs, which are detailed records of the data. The state attorney general has given them all until 5 p.m. on August the 20th to hand that over. They said it's obvious that one side is for transparency, the other for shutting down, obfuscating, and covering their tracks. Some at the event were saying that software updates and preventive maintenance visits are hurriedly being done all over the country, county by county, and involve not just Dominion, but other election service companies. Voting machine fraud is suspected in all 50 states. Dominion has contracts in about 28 states, reportedly. In passing along these reports, I am not alleging wrongdoing. I've got no inside information proving or disproving them. But it could be that they are in a race to do this before other county clerks do what Tina Peters did and make those copies before the copies. One attendee from Wisconsin expressed dismay that on June 21st, Dominion had called to ask that they be allowed to come in and do one of those inspections as an in-person software update. He wanted to know what he could do. The advice: get a forensic image of every server before company reps are allowed so that they might try to make changes. The discussion then turned as to how this might be done on a large scale in counties across the country. It's truly a massive job. They also mentioned a strange clause that pops up in contracts between Dominion and individual counties. It requires that county officials not comply with any outside requests for information. Dominion also says it will pay any applicable legal fees, which frankly is quite unusual. Conclusion: on any contract with any voting systems vendor, better read the fine print. More has come out about Tuesday's raid on Peters' office, primarily that no one but the raiders were allowed to be in the office during the raid and witness what they did in there. Moderator David Clement said, "It's time to get tough. We need you to set your jaw," he told the crowd. It's an attitude adjustment. The other side had hoped that by now we would have just accepted this and gone on, but that clearly is not happening. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll hit the like button and comment if you've enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing to the channel below and clicking the notification bell. That helps a lot in getting our videos viewed by even more people. I'll be doing a live stream next week where you can get my hottest takes, and if you want to, you can berate me in the comments if you like. And remember, if you want more of my news analysis and commentary, be sure to sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It's absolutely free. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.